That's actually a good point to just switch. Oh, why isn't music still running? Hey everyone, and welcome to today's stream. It is Thursday, it is 7 p.m. my time, a little after. And today we are going to take a look at Spitfire Audio's latest release, OLAFUR Arnalds Cells. Whoop, coming up here. There we go. So Spitfire Audio OLAFUR Arnalds Cells. Copy the link into the chat. There you go. If you want to check it out yourself. Hard to describe OLAFUR's work in a few words. If you don't know him, definitely check him out, look him up, listen to his music. Amazing composer. And it's not the first, it's the third or fourth collaboration between OLAFUR Arnalds and Spitfire Audio. And Cells is the name of this new library. Moving beyond the realm of a typical sample library, Cells is our latest collaboration with OLAFUR Arnalds, one of Iceland's foremost musicians with a career spanning over a decade as a recording artist, live performer, and composer. OLAFUR has received 3 Grammy nominations over his career, also winning a BAFTA for Best Original Music for the series Broadchurch and receiving an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Original Main Title Theme Music for Defending Jacob. Cells is a collaborative tool that enables composers and producers to harness the power of a string orchestra and get the feeling of players responding as if they are in the same room as the composer. In addition, there is a toolkit of vintage analog synth with a variety of signal path created and performed by OLAFUR to embrace this same collaborative power. All right. Please let me know if the audio is fine, if you can hear everything fine. And without further ado, I want to do this in 2 parts today. So one is checking out the library, and there is numerous videos on the website of Paul going through it, and these are really good walkthroughs if you want to know more about the details of the functionality. We will scratch that on the surface basically, but what I want to do today, because I think this is where it gets interesting, is I want to see this thing in action, in actual work. And that's what we're going to do today. Try to score a little scene with it. That's my idea. And so without further ado, let's jump straight in and check it out. So what I'm going to do is make sure that this is not processed whatsoever. So no processing on this baby. It comes in Spitfire's own player, so no contact. That means it installs as a VST3 plugin. There we go. OLAFUR Arnalds Cells comes as his own sample player and opens up like this. This is what it looks like. If you have any other Spitfire libraries, you might be familiar with the interface already. There's a few special things that are different than other libraries, because there's some functionality that is just not present in other libraries. But overall, if you want to know more about the Spitfire player itself, you can head to the Spitfire website and look it up there. Let's dive straight in. The interface overall has expression linked to this fader, mod wheel linked to this fader. Then we have the big knob in the middle, which currently is set to reverb. And if you click this button in the middle, then you sometimes get multiple options. So in this case, you can differentiate between reverb, release, and variation. And variation is out of the house coded to CC21. So that means we can wiggle it around with a MIDI fader that controls CC21, or we can relearn different CCs if we want to. The whole key thing, we will look at that in a second. Down here, we have the articulations. I actually forgot. Top here, we have the list for the sounds to load. So if we click that, we can see all the sounds that are part of the library. And we can also do a little bit of like searching and filtering and things like that. So lots of synth stuff. We will look at that in a little bit, but for now, let's do this. What's it doing here? I'm just gonna reload. I think I messed that up. So initial patch status, there we go. And Jeff, we will explore all that in due course, but let me tell you, they are not, but it doesn't matter. So let's put that on the side. This is not really a phrase-based library that needs to be synced to the tempo. Anyway, let's go on. So that's the way where you can search for the patches, and then here down in the bottom range we have the key switches. Sometimes we have multiple pages of these. So in this case, these little dots here. Let us move to the second page, and there's several others. We can also edit the key switches. If we click that here, then there's a bunch of, really a bunch of, lots and lots and lots of different variations that we can add or take away. We don't need to look at that right now. Second option here, this little fader icon, is the mixer. So this is the mixer section for this specific library. We have mix 1, mix 2, effects send, effects 2, close, close R. I think that's close ribbon and close whatever. Close mic, stream mic, and ambient. The library was recorded in a hall in Iceland. Icelandic. Lenwin, that hardly will fit today, but we will figure out something on that. Probably not going to do that today on this stream. Sorry. So, mixing, and then we have effects. Last panel, reverb, release, and variation, which is the same right now as the knob at the top here. That's a lot of babbling, but I just wanted to get this out of the way in regards to the interface. Let's play this thing, because I think that's why you are here. You want to hear how this sounds. Right now it sets to any MIDI channel. I'm sending it straight out, no further processing, so that's the sound straight out of the plugin. Let's just hit a note. And right now I just realized that my CPU is going bonkers, and that might have to do with the streaming. Yeah, that is this is not acceptable, but no problem. I just quickly need to give Cubase a little restart. I'm gonna do that right now, and sorry for that. I should have done that prior to the stream, but let me know. Are you excited about this library? Are you interested? Well, what do you want to see the most? What are you interested in? Have you watched other videos? And yeah, let me know in the chat what's it is that you're most curious about in this library. I should give the preface, of course, that Spitfire did send this library to me for free. As a review copy or an NFR copy, so I didn't pay for it, but I'm free to say whatever I want about it and give you my honest opinion, and I try to be as unbiased as possible. Opening the plugin in the background here, and yeah, it is. I didn't have as much time to spend with it as I would like have, but I mean, that's the nature of these hands-on streams. It's kind of like we all do the unboxing together. So let's take a look at it and have some fun with it and see what we can do with it. That's the idea of these live streams. So if you're new here, the idea is to show you the library, of course, and play a bunch of the patches. But most importantly, I want to see how it behaves in a working scenario. So that's what we're going to do. So let's see if we can do this again and play a note. So right now I realized the first thing that's happening, and this has to do with this panel up here. We need to quickly talk about this because otherwise some things don't really work. Because I just played an E flat and it didn't do anything. So I put down E flat and it is not playing. Because right now we have the scale for this instrument set to C major, and E flat is not part of C major. I can activate that by clicking this button here, so now it allows me to play any note. So now I can play that E flat, sorry, even though the scale is set to C major. Or the other way would be if I plan to do something in E flat major or C minor. I did not show my screen. Sorry for that. Yes, of course I can switch back to the screen. My apologies. So right now here, again, as we can see, we have to talk about this key panel. So as I've said, it's set to C major. And if I play an E flat right now, nothing is happening because it's not playing. I can turn this on with this button here. So now I can play notes that are not part of the scale. Or if I know I'm going to write something in C minor, for example, I need that E flat there, I can change the scale to, in this case, C minor. Why would I actually need a scale? So this is where this instrument kind of, what's the meat and potato about this instrument? Because it's not simple sustained notes, but performances within a key between these different players. So basically, these notes, if you play a C, it can, and we are in C minor, it can put a whole note going to the D, it could go to the E flat, to the F. Let me show you an example. So right now we are on the cells key switch here. I'm setting to C minor, I'm just playing a C3, very soft. And you can see it's lighting up with this +7 sign. If I play a little harder, hear that second note coming in there? It's not like I'm playing that. That is part of the sample or part of that performance there to randomly show up and say, hello, I'm another note coming in. If we play two notes together, let's say the C and the G, and right now we can see that the G has a +3. So it now plays the third on top. I'm currently very angry with my system performance, but that somehow has to do with the video and streaming, but I'm not really sure how I can work around that. I know how I can. I don't need to use this template. I'm just starting with an empty session. Then we should have way less performance issues. So let's quickly do this. That's going to be fast. It doesn't take long. So time to read the questions. So Paul's walkthrough. Yeah, Paul's walkthrough is amazing on this one. So let's do an empty project. So yeah, that CPU looks way more forgiving. Add instrument track, cells. All right. So blank project. Same thing again. Let's start off right away by setting it to C minor, where we were just where. And I did hit the keys in a different velocity. Right now we had +3 and +3. So the thing how this concept works is that you can trigger different performances depending on how hard you hit the key. So if we move the mouse over the key switch here, it says at the bottom left of the player here you have an info panel where it says cells 0 to 20 plays unison, 21 to 110 plays sparse, and medium intervals controlled via variation. And 111 to 127 plays two-note intervals. If no interval is available in the given key, unison will play. That sounds very cryptic, and hopefully we will have a little bit of a better understanding how that works in a little bit. So back to these keys. So if I hit a little harder, now both are at +7. Now the G is on +5 because I went a little down in the velocity. Let's try the variation. Actually, we need to... This is something that I really don't like about the Spitfire player, I have to admit. If this is set on reverb, I don't see if in the variation anything is happening. So I have to force it to go to the variation tab and then show it to me, which I find a little bit cumbersome. So at least if they have these main controls for an instrument like velocity, mod wheel, CC11 and the variation, either put it on a third slider because it's a main control, or find a way to show me that on the default screen what is happening with a fader. Right now, as you can see, I'm moving it, but nothing is happening on the GUI. I'm moving it, now it's working. So that is a little bit cumbersome, and point of critique on my end there for this. So mod wheel and expression work as expected. Expression brings it all the way down as a volume control. Mod wheel is a timbre control, making it a little louder or a little softer. And CC21 is variation. And let's quickly play 3 keys and go through the whole variation. So we can hear, at least I can hear in the, if we go to the right, it gets a little more intense, and these are these 2-note intervals. 2-note intervals. Let's do a different key. Let's go with E major, for example. So I'm putting this on E major. And again, off-scale notes are not playable if this is not activated, so I cannot play a C right now. I can only play the notes that are part of the E major scale, which is conveniently illustrated in the panel here. So and of course you have to understand, I guess you have to, that this E triggers very different performances of these strings based on the E major key, whereas if we switch it to C major, for example, where E is also part of the key, it triggers much different evolutions or performances. So actually, let's do this. Let's hit this very soft and listen to a little bit of the E major performance there. And it says +2 right now. If I switch the key to C major and play that same E again, so now it's triggering the F on top because now the F is part of the key that we're in. If I go a little harder, it goes to the minor third above. There is no F sharp in there, so it cannot do +2 because we are in the key of C major. Unless we would go to a C Dorian, so to a C Lydian, then we would suddenly have the F sharp in there, and then we could do a +2 again, right? So it is dependent on the key that you're playing if you're set it with this panel. I feel that the control for the instrument based on the velocity can be a little bit hit and miss. I mean, you have all possibilities in the MIDI editor to re-edit that. So when I, for example, go into the track and record something, Freaking hell, what do I want to edit about that? It already sounds amazing, but let's say there is, and if we... One thing that I watched in Paul's walkthrough, which I think is very important with these type of libraries, is a performance that is set, that is recorded, will stay the same no matter what. There is no round robin variation or anything, so whenever you play that back, it will always sound the same, which is, of course, in my opinion, very important, because you cannot rely on too much randomness and have something that sounds much different the second time around when you play it back. So right now, if we play this as it is, so let's say we change the velocities. So I'm taking this C and taking this down a little. I think it is a little bit irritating because I have two C's here, but let's see. If I play that again, let's see where that changes to. It still says +7. And the other ones were +1 and +2. So make these a little bit louder. Just trying to, again, we're kind of figuring out this together. I'm still trying to figure out how that exactly works. Yeah, so now we have a louder interval here, louder velocity, and that triggers a different interval on these keys. So you have a little bit of influence of which intervals get triggered. So let's do an A/B comparison. So I don't know how well you can hear that. The so the G has that. So there was a little major third there on top. This +4 on the key means that it's going up a major third. It was very subtle in the back, which I actually appreciate, that it's not like in your face. It's very, very gentle on a lot of these notes, at least so far what I've heard. So again, softest velocity plays a 0, so that's they call it a unison articulation, so that stays on the single note. Then going up, the +2. So with the G note, that would technically give you an A, and it does. So you hear these slight variations between G and A going up and down. Then bringing up the volume more, now we have +4, that is the major third on top. And then we have +5, which brings us back to the octave of the root note. Yeah, there it is. So now we get the C in there. And then we have +7 as well, which is a fifth on top of the note. But what you can also hear is with the increased velocity, the intensity of the G note also sounds a little different. Versus before we had... Right? So I feel that sounds a little different in the louder velocity. And to be honest, the +7 not only gives me the fifth on top, I heard an A coming in there as well. So it's not like hard-coded, it's just the fifth on top. There is still movement and random movement happening within these notes. So that's basically, if we break it down, that's like a G and A and a D playing at the same time. So there's a little more randomness and random movement in there than it just says on the tin. And then on the loudest velocity, it still stays at +7. And I have not really figured out yet. I have the feeling that not all notes give us all the intervals. So let's take the E3. Now we're still in C major. Sorry for that little more of a longer explanation, but I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around that myself. So on the lowest velocity, it also says +0. So if we bring both notes down to very, very quiet, we just get a plain sustained note without any movement. Right? Nothing going on there. Even though the simple sustains already sound very, very nice. So then with the E with the increased velocity, now it says +1. So now it should change between the E and the F. And you don't really get a straight suspended chord there if I add the C at the bottom here as well. So now we have full chord. Because this E note still means that the players are like weaving between the E and the F. So you get both notes playing at the same time, which gives that nice little rub there. So that F layers on top. Then next in line would be +3, I guess. Yes, so next velocity level is +3, so that gives you the E and the G on top. And then the next level would be +5, so that gives you the A on top. Let's see how that sounds. So that is kind of self-explanatory as well. Someone just said you need a degree to understand the plugin. I don't think so, because there's so, and we will look at the played version as well. I think it helps if you have a basic understanding of music theory, with all the intervals and how they interact with each other and how they work. But you can also just slam down the keys and play, and it still sounds beautiful, which is one of the nice things about this plugin, I think. I'm just showing this more in-depth control because some people were asking about how much control do you actually have over the performances, and is that just a tool that makes you sound like OLAFUR Arnalds and you're not composing anymore? I don't think that this is the case. I think this is very intricate and allows very much flexibility in crafting your own ideas with it. So last but not least, we have the... I don't know why it's jumping back to +3. Oh, I know why. Because at this level, we are switching to the 2-note intervals, which I don't really, still not sure what that means. This is what it means. We have now 2 notes as intervals. And in this case, we have the... Oh, that's why the G before at the loudest velocity was playing the A and the D on top. Because it's a 2-note interval. See? I learned something. So that makes a lot of sense. Again, back to square one. When we bring them all down very quietly, that means we have just the regular sustains. Still too loud. It's already triggering other sounds. So let's bring it down. I'm not really sure why the C at the bottom suddenly is triggering +7. So it technically should be +0. Still does +7. Let's bring it up an octave. See what that does. Okay, I'm pretty sure that I don't really understand that. So that C on the lowest velocity should technically trigger, like the G and the E, just a unison sound. If I play that, it says +7. That might be a graphics bug, because it's playing unison, but it says +7 on the label. So maybe something to look into, because I feel that could be confusing a little bit if these labels are not correct. I think that C should be a +0, like the others, because it doesn't sound like it's doing any intervals. Would you compare the Arnold's evolutions? We could probably take a look at these in a little bit. So last but not least, let's keep that as at the softest velocity. Let's quickly delete the top node there. So I'm going to keep this soft. So actually what we're going to do is this. Like this. C to F. I honestly don't really understand why we don't get zeros. I mean, I have this all the way down. This should be a plain 0, but it says +7. This says +4. But if I listen to it, it's a straight unison. I am suspecting something is off with the labeling there. So don't always watch the labels, also just listen. So that was a lot of theory. Let's dive in a little more into what the actual sounds are. So the cells, we already heard that, and for a change, we change the key here. Let's go with a F major. So you can just play simple keys, chords, and hold it. Okay, quick explanation. The fall 2024 is for my shop. Spitfire has their own Black Friday sale going on right now if you check the Spitfire website. But the fall 2024 is for my own, for the Composing Tutorials online shop. They're both mentioned in the description of the video. Above that, you find the Spitfire website, and Spitfire has their own Black Friday sale. And I think there you don't need a code. That is already, it shows the reduced pricings on the website. So going back to playing a little bit and listening to the sound. So let's do F major, a few chords. So, and again, we cannot play any notes that are not part of the scale. And I think you understand the principle. And besides these little random up and down movements, we have different ways how this can be performed. We have motion, which gives you like glissandi-like sounds between the notes. What I find is that this library really forces you to take time to explore it, because there's so much happening, especially with these different velocity layers. With just 2 notes, there's already so much happening. A little louder, meaning more velocity. Also, one thing, just a minor critique. point. If I'm on the first, I talked about that, so I don't really like the fact if it's set to reverb that I cannot see the variation if this is not visible. So if I move the variation, nothing is happening on the GUI. So I can set it to variation. So now I have it working and I can close this. So, and we hear the difference. And so when I went to the motion patch and listened to it a little bit, and then I started to move the variation knob. And I wondered, why is nothing happening? And then I checked it, and then I said, okay, this articulation does not have a variation knob. And it's grayed out here, but the wheel is still there. So I think that's just like a graphic mistake or a mistake in not letting you know that variation is not available for this articulation. So I would expect this to be grayed out if I switch the articulation. So if I don't have this bottom panel active and I have the variation knob here, and click on the next page, I would expect this to go gray so that I know, okay, this is not available for that articulation. Otherwise, it can be a little bit confusing because it's like trying to fix a compressor that has been in bypass for half an hour. Yeah, this is definitely not a spiccato library. Then we have clouds. Clouds is tuned intervals combined into one scale mode patch. Softer playing triggers small intervals, harder playing increase the interval size. So same thing, I'm playing these same notes. So it really is that like beautiful meandering between the keys. And obviously if you say, okay, I need to write something in B major, that's totally possible. And then you just change the key here. You gotta be careful a little bit with how many notes you play at the same time due to all these intervals going up and down. It can get very blurry very fast. It sounds really, really nice. And it says it has different scales, but if I play really soft, it says +7. If I play a little more, it still says +7, but now we have different intervals. If I play harder, honestly, I really suspect that there's something wrong with the labeling on these buttons, because I'm hearing different articulations played on different velocity notes, but it always says +7. So the visual feedback is not correct in terms of what I'm hearing. So got to use less eyes and more ears. There's still a certain kind of randomness to it. You don't really have an influence as much when these triggers happen. And it's like, I mean, they said it's like working with the musicians and giving them notes. If that were the case, I would basically say, okay, hold it, hold it, hold it, now come up. This is not possible, obviously, because it's not musicians in a box. But it's a step closer to that instead of just using pre-baked performances. At least give you a wide area of different choices of performance that you can mix and match and put together. And the fact that you can adjust the key. I mean, I just played a B and an F sharp, so let me change this to B minor and see what difference that makes in sound on the same key switch articulation. I'm honestly not hearing much of a difference there, so that means there's no intervals being played that define the major or minor tonality, so it's just seconds and fourth and seventh, but no third. So if I hit a little bit harder, same thing, maybe it was not hard enough or just soft. There, now we have minor. So now it's playing the third on the softest articulation there. And by the way, now it's also saying +3. So I'm not sure if I do anything wrong or if I go back to major and play really soft, it still says +7. But I'm hearing a +2 now in the lower note. So again, I strongly suspect that these labelings are not 100% correct. Back to minor, and let's check out the scatter. 0 to 30 plays unison, 39 to 90 plays medium intervals, and 91 to 115 plays octave intervals, which we haven't looked at. They're down here. And then 115 to 127 plays gliss. So I understand the idea behind that, but I'm also not as proficient to really nail in my the way I hit the keys to really hone it in on these articulation ranges. Maybe in a future update that might be something that could be triggered via a CC instead of velocity. That would be great if you have like 4 different sets of samples that you can trigger with 4 different velocity modes. Maybe it would be a good idea to have that available as a slider instead of velocity control, so that I can really manually dial in which one I want to trigger and then hit the note. I think that would be very, very handy, because with this, it's a lot of fiddling with the velocity of the note and making it fit to get the performance you want. But it sounds amazing. If I hit the B a little harder, now we get the octaves. On the 5th we don't have octaves, it seems. Oh, now we get the slides. That was the 4th layer. 4th layer is the glisses. So I accidentally triggered the glisses. Now we have the octaves. Again, my main concern, but my main idea in terms of controllability would be to have a slider on the side with these different articulations that are available, like +7, +8 octaves, that I can just, like this, dial it in. Well, and by the way, another thing, when the CC21 is not available, you cannot physically touch it on the GUI. It's kind of going crazy here. I have to use this. But again, it's not controlling anything because there's no CC21 with that. But what I meant is like a controller like this, and maybe in the middle show what it's doing, or I would put it on the side, to be honest, or maybe down here. Something that shows me, okay, +2, +5, +8, octave, gliss. So, and then I can dial in with a mod wheel or with that controller which articulation to trigger as an alternative to the triggering via velocity. I could see that being very useful in terms of workflow. Let's go on. We have cirrus. All gliss intervals combined into scale mode. So let's change the scale for a moment. Let's go with E. No, we had E already. We cannot use a key twice. That is unwritten rule. So let's go with D major. D major, por favor. that's a lot of glisses going on there. One more thing that I just realized, I mean, I'm not here to bash this library, don't get me wrong, but they send it to me and they ask me to do a hands-on, which I'm doing, and I'm just discovering things as we go along. If I play notes like this, it says +7, +9, and I put down the sustain pedal, and I let the notes go, the interval is gone. It would be very helpful if that stayed if I use the sustain pedal, and only goes away when I lift the sustain pedal. Just on a side note, so. So you hear these glissando movements from the notes. Let's do it on a single note to have it a little bit more audible. So I'm playing very quiet on the D on the root. And then it seems to stay there. If I play a little harder, now we have +4. Harder. Okay, there's nothing more. There's +7. So if I do a cacophony on that and play every single note of the scale of D major, this is what we get. We are getting very loud. I think that's not intended to be played that way. So single notes are your friend on this one. Intensity, 0 to 50 plays sparse, 51 to 100 plays medium, 101 to 127 plays 2 note intervals. If no interval available, unison will play. Same thing, I played very soft. I'm hearing +2, but the button says it's +5. A little harder, now it says +4. Yeah, that's +4. That's the third on top. More hard gives me the fifth. You also have to wrap your head around the fact that +7 is the fifth, because it's the note and then it's 7 semi-steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If we are on D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 brings us to the A, which is the fifth of D. Again, not a theory lesson today, but just to kind of try to understand the interface a little better. So +5 means jumping from D to G. Lots of random movement in there. Then we have the octaves. Not really sure why. Okay, let's read. Octave intervals combine into one scale. Softer playing triggers small intervals. Harder playing increases the interval size. If no interval is available in the given key, unison will play. So that means, because I just heard the +5, I was assuming octaves means octave jumps, but it doesn't, apparently. If I play very hard, I get the +7. But that's not a +7, that's oh no, it is +7. Yeah, it's the A on top. So some of these work beautifully with open chords if you would just do the root and the fifth. You really have to be a little bit careful, I think, which interval gets triggered. And again, with some of these, I suspect them to not behave the way they should. So it can be sometimes a little hard to get the interval right. If you, for example, play a 0, like a unison, and it tells you +5, so you're not really sure if that is actually what you're playing. So you still have to listen. Let's go into the I think, yeah, these are combined patches, and then we have the individual ones. I'm going to the individual ones in a second. Besides the whole key thing and knowing what key you're in, etc., and oftentimes when you start playing, you don't know what key you're going to be in. You also have this played mode, and this played mode basically detects what you're doing on the keys. So if you start playing something in G minor, first of all, you can set off root detection, which would mean the first note that you play is going to be the root, which often is the case when you start playing something. But you can also turn it off and don't worry about it. So let's bring the controllers down. Do we have variation? No. No variation on this. So I'm very quiet. I'm starting off with an F sharp minor. So now it's changing to A minor. So I played an F sharp minor before, and look at the scale. So it kind of auto adjusted. It sees me now playing A minor with actually a Dorian touch because it has the F sharp still in there. If I now play a D minor, okay, that changes the scale to D minor. But I want to try to trick it. Let's bring in, and immediately it changes the scale to B major. Let's go to the cells and try that mode there. I have the feeling sometimes it doesn't really know what it needs to do. I feel it does work. So now I played a C minor with some of the intervals now sounded weird to me. I'm not fully convinced, but I can imagine this. Maybe if we do the root detection thing, start on C minor. So now jump to chromatic and stays on chromatic. The memory time, I think the time notes will be remembered. So if I now start playing on a C sharp minor, it will probably, yeah, it now changes the scale because it remembers the notes that I played. So that kind of makes a lot of sense, because then at least this, if I decently play within a certain type of scale, it would probably allow me to trigger the correct intervals between the notes. But it's not fully correct. So I played it went to D major when I played the D within the E minor scale. And then it went to C major, so it got rid of the F sharp when I played the C. So it kind of, it does follow what you play, but also it's a little random in its decision making. So I think if you are a little bit familiar with music theory, that might be a little bit harder to follow along. I think it also depends on how fast you change the chords. Maybe if I take this, can I turn this up? No, I cannot change this. Oh, I can. So it will remember the notes for 30 seconds. Let's try this. Now it totally messes up the notes here. I am not a big fan of that. So if I do something in E minor, I would just go in and say, okay, you give me E minor, please. That's what I'm doing. Because now the scale stays where I initially set it to. So that is the way this behaves. And then we have the individual sparse cells. So 0 to 20 unison, 21 to 110 play sparse intervals. And then we have 2-note at the top. Again, same thing. If I play very, very soft, it says, if I play very soft, it gives me unison, 0 to 20. And it plays unison, but it says +4 on the button. When I play a little harder, now I get the +5. Even more hard, I get the 5th on top. And that's 2-note. So definitely something is a little wonky with the graphic display. And I think with an instrument like this, you need to really rely on these numbers to be correct, because you want to know that you're triggering the correct phrase and not listen to everything from beginning to end to kind of know, okay, am I on the unison playback, or is this triggering other notes in between that I may want there or may not want there? So I think this is definitely something that needs to be looked into to make sure that the values that are displayed of what I'm playing are correct. Or, like I said, have a dedicated slider CC control to address these different available intervals. Just curious when I change that back to, let's say, C major and play really soft. I'm hearing unison, but I don't understand why it says +7 and +4. Now I'm hearing the intervals, so that is all correct. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Maybe I'm just using it wrong. Correct me in the chat, in the comments later down below if you find that I misjudged it or showed it wrong. Or maybe if you experience the same and it's actually correct. That's the idea of this playthrough. What I try to give developers who send libraries to me. Oftentimes when library developers develop product, they kind of get like blind to the product itself because they are so deep into programming and creating it, etc. And they kind of sometimes lose sight of the user experience or how it works when someone just uses the product instead of designing it or creating it. And this can sometimes, at least that's the feedback that I got from a bunch of different sample library developers who did send me libraries to play them and go through them, is that they sometimes discovered stuff that they didn't think of because a fresh mind might have a different approach or a different idea of how to approach a certain type of functionality. So Spitfire, if you're watching this and listening, my apologies if I totally messed this up. No apologies at all if I did find something that is odd, or maybe there's some feedback, because don't get me wrong, it sounds absolutely breathtaking. It is an amazing, breathtakingly sounding library. But in terms of how to control it, and with the claim that they have on the website that it's kind of the next step to being close to communicating with the musicians and telling them what to do, I feel that bridge of communicating with the plugin in this case has a few bumps on the road that makes it a little unwilling to cooperate, in my opinion, at least from my understanding for now. So the cells is the full band, a full string orchestra. That's what we listen to. Then we have a bunch of more options available. So let's check out the synth. Synth is basically the same thing, same idea, scale-based performances with OLAFUR's hardware tools from his chat. So same thing, we have a C major scale. So I'm playing a C. I'm playing very soft, and it says plus 12 there, which would mean an octave. There we go. If I play more hard, I play very, very soft. I really don't get it. It shows plus 12 all the time. This one on soft says plus 2, but it's unison. So now plus 5, that works. Back to plus 12. That is incorrect. There are quite a lot microphone positions even for that, even for the synth. Let's look at these. So let's change the scale to something that we can play. So let's embrace the randomness, not look at the numbers, and just play some chords. And hold that. And let's take a look at the microphone options. So we have mix 1. So for this one, we do have a bunch of different, not the same options as for the strings. Actually, I should go back to the strings and check some of the mic positions as well. But let's stay on the synth for now. So we have the DI signal. We have the same signal run through modular. Sounds a little bit more reverberant. Then we have effects send. And actually you have to use, at least that's what I found, you have to use that in conjunction with a mix, with a dry, because otherwise it sounds delayed. So it comes in later, whereas when you have the full mix. So that comes in after the node. So that's a true send effect. And then we have effects 2. I don't even know what that is. And let's go quickly back to the full band, because we haven't really listened to the microphone, to the microphone position. So let's load the parallel motion, maybe. Right, so let's go to the mic positions. We have mix 1. Actually, let's turn them all on. Might be interesting to see how much RAM do we actually need when we turn them all on. I don't know. And I just did it for the entire articulation map list. So I did it for all the articulations. This is something that I do like about the Spitfire player. If you have multiple mic positions on different articulations, you can change mic positions per articulation, not for the entire patch. So if you turn this global off, it will just change the mic position for the currently loaded articulation. So you could have first articulation with mix 1 and the second articulation with mix 2 if you turn this off. But right now I did it for the entire thing and it's still loading. So right now it's loading everything it has for the cells into the RAM, which might take a little moment, or I just turn it off again. Might be faster that way. Yeah, let's turn it off again. At least these last two. Last 4. So okay, that's the mix 1. Then we have mix 2. And the same with the Synth. The Synth doesn't really work on its own. You can hear how it's like getting triggered by the dry signal. And then it's coming in later. So this is something that is meant to sit in conjunction with the dry signal. Then we have effects 2, which I assume some kind of reverb. It's also starting later. Right, and then we have close mics. 2 at that. Close R, which I assume is close ribbon. Which sounds very, very nice. Then we have the classic Decker tree, which is currently loading. That's one thing I don't like about the Spitfire player. It only starts playing when it's loaded into memory. You can see it up here, like it's filling up the RAM. So that's the Decker tree, and then we have the ambient mics, which probably are in the back of the recording space. Right, so there's a bunch of different microphone options to choose from. We looked at the Synth. We have a dedicated bass instrument. I mean string bass instrument. There's other bass synth sounds in there as well. That is long straight. That might be something where we might look into the release time. And into the reverb. Here you hear a little better what's happening with that send effect. So dry, or in this case mix 2. And then if you bring the send in, you hear how that's like a slapback coming later after the initial transient of the note. So I think that's something very OLAFUR specific. One thing that I realized when I listened to that, especially if I listen to the effects on its own, I feel that if you have an effect like that, I mean, this is a sample, not a send effect. It's like a sampled send effect, recorded send effect chain. But I feel if I have an instrument like this, I would need a dedicated release control for this send effect channel. So I feel that this would need to sound rather like this. So I would, but not for the original dry signal, just for the send effect chain. So what I mean is, basically, let me show you. I would need to duplicate this. So now on this instrument, let me play just the mix. Turn this off and bring the interval down. On this, let's turn it off completely. So right now we should have so release, bring the release down. Right, that makes a lot of sense, hopefully. And I just want to have the mix. And reverb off. Right? So, and if I now add this send effect, which does sound nice, let's turn the reverb off on this. And let's have the send, the release, the same setting as the first one. So what happens is, so we have the effect coming in, but what I would love to see on the interface is that send effect would need its own dedicated release control, because it's a send effect, right? It needs to ring longer than the original triggering signal. Right? So now the send effect triggers longer than the original signal. So that's why I do like the idea. I mean, you right now see me doing a workaround, basically, how I would do that. But if you had a little wheel here on the send effect for the release time, that would be very helpful and make that signal even more usable. Just a minor niggle there on the side. So that's the bass instrument. And in terms of articulations, we have also long spars. Okay, I'm triggering two instruments here. Here we go. Let's bring back some reverb. And then we have medium unison. And as an explanation, unison, medium means with more frequent wisps to create a more present texture. So it's basically just a little more intense versus sparse. Right? Okay, that's the dedicated bass instrument at the that we have for the strings. So that can support the full band. Then we have different synth instruments, bass. Really nice subs. These are very similar to the OLAFUR Arnalds toolkit, with a little bit more reverb. Who puts reverb on a sub? Well, apparently OLAFUR. That's really cool. Interesting, the reverb is also set per articulation here. short sub 20. So some sub synth basses, then we have one shots. And again, also here we have different mic options, mix 2, effect send, effect 2, DI, and modular. These sound very OLAFUR-like. Some nice textures there. Then we have pads, and dude, oh, there's some beautiful pads in here. Holy macaroni. So all these are not apparently. I feel that they go really, really well along with the string sounds, which is the same as in the toolkit. And also in the warp patches for the other evolutions. Just beautiful pad sounds. I'm plowing through a little faster now because I want to kind of wrap this up, the playthrough, and go into a little more working with it. So let's do the last but not least, we have the organic warps. Which are also very pad-like, but it's more audible what the source is, in this case the strings. I feel that these are really, really good as subtle, still organic sounding pads. They sound really nice. We have a bunch of more controls here. Attack, decay, sustain, and release. So classic ADS arc curve. Bring that down a little, we get faster attack. Versus if we bring that up, we have a longer fade in time. Right? And again, independently controlled per articulation, which is nice. And then we have sonic warps. Some drones. Very quiet. Be careful now with the volume. So just listen to some of these examples. And then we have the individuals, which I don't even know right now. There's also, we click on synth. I have not even looked at that. I have, okay. So it's basically similar to the EDNA engine. They have, I have not even seen these sounds. All right. So that's a lot more Sonic Playground than I can cover in this video today. So that's okay, that's the default sounds going through. And then we can load this. Then we get presets. Got it. Got it. Lots of effects settings here. All right. I didn't even know that they translated. I didn't watch the full video of the walkthrough, so didn't even know that there's an EDNA engine in the Spitfire player now. So lots of sound presets based on the original recordings and sound sources in the library that you can then mangle further and add effects and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And biggest plus for me is that this is now resizable, so I can actually use the EDNA engine. I always refused to use in Contact because it's like I'm going blind when I'm looking at these small screen controls. It's crazy. This is pretty cool though. So that would probably warrant its own dedicated video, just diving into the EDNA engine and working. I mean, look at that. There's so much that you can explore and do and mangle the sounds with. Wow, that's... slowly pitching it away. Yeah, lots of stuff. And I think then you can also automate this stuff. And even if you can't, we are in Cubase now. So that means I could load a filter like an LFO. And I don't know, does it work if I control this? Yeah, that works. So kind of you get the idea. So if you have some kind of modulation, that can modulate other parameters, which is nice. All right. So that is the overview of the library itself, but I wanna get into working with it. So, and the way I want to do it today is a little different from what we usually do. Since this is all Icelandic and northern and cold and snow and mountain goats, I thought maybe let's write a little something like a little trailer music for an Icelandic thingy. And so I went on and grabbed some free footage from Pexels, and I think I found something on Vimeo. Anyway, let's import it. I have a little video track, some stock footage that I slammed randomly together. Here we go. So that is a video that I call Ice, and it's just some random stock footage, and then I put some filter on top to make it look black and white. And I think I even exported the original source clips as well, and at the end there. I think it's about, so let's add a second ruler with seconds. So bring that up here. Actually, let's split my screen here. So I'm gonna start working a little bit like a professional, right? So top area is our ruler. We add a marker track. We put the video on the top. Input output can stay here, and we have the instrument here, right? So that's all good. Video window. And I think that the end of the video, yeah, is around here. So to bring that here. So let's take a quick look at the video and then see what we can do. I also want to kind of give you a little bit of insight how I would go about scoring in general and how to fit music to picture. I have to be honest, this was done very, very quickly. There is no like cut rhythm to the video. It's just really stock footage, black and white filled on top, randomly lined one after the other, and then exported. So don't expect a masterpiece, but it is something to get us going, and let us start somewhere. So this is what it currently looks like. I didn't even transition between the clips. It's just like cut, cut, cut. And they're all different length. So not really a rhythm to that. We have no idea what we're going to do with that. So we only know that we want to use OLAFUR cells to score this. As you can see, some shots are a little bit longer. It's roughly 2 minutes, I think. And I have no idea what we're going to do with that. So we probably want to have to grow it a little bit, like develop. And make it a little bit bigger towards the end. There's no title card or anything, so it just fades to black at the end. But I have a special scene for the end. It was like a sunset that I did like. That looks like a weird painting. Lots of water, ice, and cold. Same scene again. Funny. Didn't even realize that it's twice in there. So a little bit more water. Faults. That's a little bit longer. Yeah, we're nearing the end. So that is beautiful big Iceland. Ah, oh, nice. Cold, shivery. No, I have another scene in between there. So we're not fully committing to the end there. I don't know why this is in there. I searched for stock footage of ice, and this is what I randomly threw in. And that's the last picture. I mean, technically, the swirling thing, you could put a title card on top there. Like, whoa, Iceland, welcome. And then have the sunset as last. So that's what we have. I have no idea what we're going to do, but I want to show my process of how I go about scoring something like this. Especially how to kind of frame something to a musical grid, or give us a grid starting point when there's no tempo and nothing, and the cuts are random, so you cannot really adjust the tempo to the picture. All right, I feel a little slower, so let's start with 85. So I'm gonna just turn on the click and see how the click feels to the picture. And I'm absolutely not worried about having every cut line up with the tempo. That's, well, at least I think so. It feels a little too fast. So I'm going with 82. Actually, what I'm going to do is first of all, I need a time signature track. And I'm going to start this on bar 3. Very neat new little function in Cubase. I can set the 0 point to the current position like this. So if I say this is 0, it doesn't work. great. Try again. Add track, add new ruler. Okay. This is time code. Seconds. So my time code right now for whatever forking reason, it doesn't work. So I don't care. So let's just delete it. Don't want to waste time on that right now. So bars and beats, we start on bar 3. So that's where we start. I have 4/4. And one thing that I often do when it comes to scoring to picture, I try to avoid tempo ramps as much as possible, because if someone would live play that, it's a big pain in the behind if you have click changes, and a musician can very much adapt to different time signatures, like counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, something like that works much better than redundancy and acceleration and things like that. So often when I try to match the timing or click to picture, I'm going by varying the time signatures. So throwing in a 5/4 or things like that if I want to hit a certain beat in the movie. Like I said, there is not really much to hit here, but maybe we still can try to make it a little bit more fluid and try to have some music elements on these transitions, on these cuts. Right now we're good. That's exactly on the beat. 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so there we have one that is definitely way off the beat. So I could go in and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So I could make this bar here a 5/4 and then go back to 4/4. So that would mean whatever I did, and I have no idea what I'm going to do musically. I'm just kind of establishing a frame in which I can move around musically. So I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. See? So I'm not changing the tempo. I'm just changing the the way the bar is divided within the same tempo. So that makes it easier for musicians later down the line to follow along, because you have just one click track and then you can adjust to that. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's just a 3/4. Then going back to 4/4. 2. It's not exactly on the cut, but that's fine. So that is probably 6/4, and then we go back to 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a hard cut. I actually want to hit that. So that would be 12/8. So we do 11/8, because I feel like we're missing an 8th note there. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that feels good. I could also go. Yeah, let's keep it at 11/8 for now. 2, 4. That's fine on the click. That's a longer one. Actually, let's take some notes in the markers as well. So that is a long drone shot. So I'm gonna add a marker here, long drone. It's just to give me some pointers what might happen musically there. 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So last one is a 5/4, and but we have two. Actually, let's do a 4/4 here as well. We have two full bars of 4/4 and then one 5/4. 3, 4, 5. Then we're on to the next one. 2, 4. So that's another 2, 4, 4, and then let's do a 2, 4 here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Next one. Okay. That one felt weird. So let's try a 7, 8 here. And back to 4, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. Yeah, that feels better. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a very long shot. So that's nearly 5 bars of beach. So I'm going to call this beach. Again, just to kind of help me along what's going on there. 2, 3, 4, 3. That's 4 straight bars of 4, 4. I could probably put a theme there. 2. So let's do a, I don't know, 3, 8. Yeah, definitely in the right spot. 3, 4, 1, 2. So let's do 2 bars of 3, 4 here. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that doesn't work. 2, 4, 5. So that's another 11, 8, I guess. 1, 2, 3. Honestly, 3. I'm going too into detail here. Let's not put this on the grid. I'm just keeping this in 4, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, maybe I just do the last one as a 3, 4, and then have this cut hit on the. Yeah, that feels good. 2, 3. That is a little weird, but let's keep it there. Honestly, the rest stays 4, 4. I have no further. Okay, now let's finish this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. That's gonna be a 3, 4. 3, 1, 2, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, last one is again a 3, 4. Going into 4, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, nearly there. But that's kind of the last shot where we get into the waterfalls. So let's do a 7, 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, that's on the spot. 3, 4. So that's kind of like finale. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's on the click. Great. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That's not on the click, but maybe we can work with that. Okay, now that feels weird. So let's get this last part in time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3. That's great. 4 bars. Exactly 4 bars for that. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, Okay, that is a 2-4 in between here. Back to 4-4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's on the grid. Bang on. And of course, this is 2 clicks longer. So then we do a 6-4. And by the way, just so you know, sometimes I'm also going mathematical. So when I say, okay, I have a 6-4 and a 4-4, maybe I do 2 bars of 5-4. It's the same subdivision, but it just and gets me into the same spot. But musically, it will make more sense. But that's the next step, kind of. Still, haven't written a single note. Just trying to fit the framework around the picture. By the way, that 6-4 should go to a 4-4 here again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Ah, see? That's what's happening. That's an 11-8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And that's the end already. So we're done. So that's the end of it. All right, so we have our frame in place, our timing frame. Still, we don't know what we're gonna do musically, right? So let's open up cells, start from scratch. I'm not gonna show if we stick to just using cells alone, but I mean, since that's what the video today is about, let's try this. I'm starting, well, first I need to define a key. What key are we in? B major minor scale. Interesting. Let's go with B minor. I don't know why. B minor is going to be our scale. Could also be D major, but let's stick with B minor. I want to keep it very sparse in the beginning. So we start off with this waterfall on the street shot. So that's 2 bars. Okay, I'm gonna start there. That's B in the root, F sharp, and B. I'm trying to play soft to trigger just the unisons. I don't want to have much movement already. Okay, let's try this. Okay, I like that. Let's listen again. All right, cool. Let's duplicate this. Try something synthy on this change to the street, to the top-down view on the street. Gonna use, let's try a synth pad. Oh yeah, I like that. Bring in the effects. The effect send. No, I think the effect send 2 was. Okay, take the reverb. First of all, take the release. Longer. Take the reverb. A little more. Just want to have this like little burst on the one. I like that. Name your tracks. Add burst. And we can keep that at cells. And to be honest, my strings are green. My synth are purple-ish. Let's duplicate this again. Maybe we can do something else there. Sonic warps. What do we have here? Nope, that's too, feels too busy. One shots. Yeah, that's nice. I'll use that. That was very quiet. Let's see if I can make that a little louder. Okay, I like that. So that's whatever. Ta 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 ta. I feel that at this stage here, we could bring in one of these glissandi notes. So I'm gonna change to motion. Not sure which we're gonna. We keep it on B minor. Kind of like that. Maybe not as dark. Like this. So let's see. If we bring that in, I try to automate that with module and expression. Yep, I think I like that. So, what happens next? We are in B minor, so we could go to G major or G major 7. Let's see what is coming. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I'm not. So okay, let's clean this up a little. I'm not really caring about this 3, 4, 4, 4 change. That I don't need to hit that change here. So I'm gonna do 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna stick to 3, 4. So this is going to become a 9, 8. So I'm doing math in my head right now. So I took the 5, 4 out. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're basically nearly there. Then hitting on that one. So that means we have 1, 2, 3 full bars and a 9/8. So that means coming in here from the try this. Just doing G minus major 7. And then A with a B on the top. And then probably move some node velocities around to make sure that the randomly triggered intervals are not interfering with what I think gonna do here. And I'm not gonna use the base, I'm gonna add that later. So just these two for now. I have no idea where we go after that. Quantize the hell out of these. Add the low base. So that's probably gonna become, first of all, this is slide or gliss. This is cells. This is gonna be base. So I change this instrument to the base. There we go. And I'm going to use the medium spurs. Okay, let's try this. Let's do, since we have the long drone afterwards here, that long shot, let's have a little high note linger until that drone shot comes in. Maybe I do. Yeah, something like that. And obviously need a little bit of a rise there. I mean, it's exactly on the grid, so that's where it comes in handy to kind of do the legwork with the time signatures beforehand. So then you know, okay, this is my grid, this is where I need to land. How do I fill the spots in between the hit points? This is what we have so far. That starts to sound like a score a little bit. I mean, that instrument makes it very, very easy. We could probably add these same elements on here, these pad bursts and the ta-ta-ta, to get a little bit more consistency. And I'm gonna add another instrument here. Just want to use some good old Albion Easter Island percussion, some low end stuff for some percussion. So come on. Okay, first instance of contact always takes a little bit longer. Albion 1, we want to go with, honestly, it's faster if I just load this. Something that I really like about the new contact, if you know what the patch name is, so that's pretty straightforward. It's even faster than quick load. So I do like this in the new contact. Okay, I'm gonna use that boom for the beginning. Then second one for this part here. That one can be a bit quieter. This one needs to be time Easter. And then another one here, but this one. Yeah, let's do 5, 6, 7. I messed up the timing there, but that's fine. I can still fix that in post. So just need the grid to be aligned to 8th notes. So that one needs to come exactly here. I feel we could use something more synthy here. Not really a pulse, but something that gives us a little bit more tension in that moment. Maybe we'll find something in the eDNA engine. Let's see. Nope. That's cool. I like that. So let's take that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm hearing a theme. I don't know. Let's add a piano. I'm hearing something like a theme in my head. Noir, please. Noir. Okay, why I'm not noir. We are working with Oliver. Olafur, not Oliver. Oliver Arnold. You all know him. see. How long do we have? We have... So if we do... We have that 5-4 in there, and I think that might be playing into our hands here. So let's see. If we do this, then we have... I gotta work on that there, that 2-4, but something like that. I feel this could be helpful. Let's quickly quantize that. So basically what we have is 8-13. I wonder if we... Wonder if we do a 3-4. So if I change that to 3-4, that's 3 3-4s and a 4-4. Three 3-4s and a 4-4. Oops. So that's... Okay, now the rest is messed up. 2, 3, 4. That is fine. 1, 2. I'm not really sure why this is not working anymore, but it doesn't matter because I like what is happening here. So let's clean this up. That 7-8 was actually on point, so I still need to end up there. So that means I can change this to yeah, that's 3-4 and 3-4. Back to 4-4. That should 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And yeah, what I messed one thing up. I have my markers in musical mode. They should have been in time linear mode to not move them around when I change the tempo, change the key signatures. So I messed that up, but nevertheless, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, it's not wrong. So basically, I just need to change them. Need to have that 4-4 there. 3, 4, 1. That's beach. That's the beach here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 1. Oh, that's where we need to put the 7-8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, cool. Now back to 4-4. So now this is in time again. Actually, this is the beach because that was the long shot. 2, 3, 4. 2, 4. 2. That's 4 bars and a 3/4. And a 2/4. I'm messing up this in the end there, but okay, let's see. Go piece by piece. All right, so I'm still hearing the theme here, like. Something like this. So let's record this. Sorry for the chair noise. Ah, okay, I need to hold that longer, that last note there. But I like that. That's pretty cool. Well, I didn't like that. So, and we can delete this. This needs to hold on to the next bar chain there. All right, so let's add a few things. I'm hearing a C major there. But let's add a few more things here. So we have this. Let's add, actually, let's duplicate this. And I'm gonna delete these guys. Probably want to treat this differently. That's why I'm doing 2 different versions. Want to keep this as a pedal on top. Until there, and I'm gonna make sure, or I want to make sure, that I'm triggering different intervals for the second round. So I'm gonna bring these down. See what that sounds like. I really like what that sounds like so far already. It's a little loud. All right, next one, duplicate this guy with the cells. and just have the octave 2 notes thingy on top. Let's see what that sounds like. I'm probably gonna go with the harmony of the piano. That sounds very nice. So let's try that. And then we have full 4 bars where we can play the same theme in full. I really like this. I messed it up here, so I forgot this extra beat in the bar, but no problem, we can fix that. And I need a sub here, so I'm gonna copy the synth. And change that to one of the subby sub ones. Subby sub. Who puts reverb on the sub? A little more release, please. Release, please. Yeah, that sounds nice. So let's record that. Simple, held bass. I like that. Sub bass. It's a little loud, of course. So I need to turn this down and give it a sub bass color. I want to quickly listen from the beginning. Where are we at without the click? I like it, but I think that Shelly could be an octave higher. Or maybe not the full thing, maybe just the bottom one. Like this. And also you guys come in on the beat. Okay, this might be a moment where I need to dive in and change the actual interval that is triggered by each note. So I'm not really liking the sound. It sounds too right now it says +10. So let's take this note. It says +10 throughout, no matter what I do. So is it still a different interval? Yeah, that definitely sounds better. So again, I don't really like the fact that some of these graphical displays are not congruent with what the intervals are doing. I think for this type of library, you need some visual help if you don't want to listen to all the individual performances again and again and again to make sure if it's fitting. At least if I click something in the velocity range, so right there it says +5. So I want to make sure, then there it says +4. I want to make sure when I select the velocity that I'm indeed triggering the correct, the one that I'm going for. So with these bottom nodes, if this is triggering +10 all the time, and still triggering different performances or evolutions, that makes it a little tougher to work with. So I hope that they can fix that in an update, that all these numbers are at least correct. So I like that more, less glissandi. And then on the second one we can do a little more, hopefully. So at least we get a little bit more movement there. Let's see. I'm hearing another thing that I want to add. Sorry for the break up there. And by the way, what was that? That was Edna Synth move. Yeah, I want to add another thing. I heard one of the patches in the walkthrough, and also when we played with the synth patches before for a quick moment. What? There we go. In the synth patches, the what? No, not there. Here in the one shots. Yeah, that backstep. I really like that sound. Okay, so let's try this as a pedal tone. So I want to add this here as eighth notes. I'm gonna step record that. So I'm probably gonna add a little bit of a panoramic movement to that, but that's synth pluck. So that sounds like we're gonna add that delay effect there, that send. And also, do we have more effects? Tech decays steering, no delay. Okay. But it's a nice texture. It fills the background there nicely. I feel that we have not enough movement with these strings, so I'm gonna try to bring in a little bit more. Maybe we could try to, instead of using the full cells, maybe go with an individual patch. So let's say we go with a full bend medium. And then I can determine the intervals via key switch here. So that might be something which could be interesting. So I could go, wait just a second. Or keep unison here. Give me just one quick moment, please. Sorry, back here. And I'm probably realizing that I'm not going to finish the full thing on the stream today. So I feel yeah, okay, let's try to keep that as a pedal note on top. See what that sounds like. I'm not sure what I'm going to do afterwards, but I know that I want to bring back the theme here again. And this is where we have 1, 2, 3, 4 full bars of 4/4. So if I do this in 3/4, 1, 2, 3. Oh god, math bad, math very, very bad. So if I want to stick this here, no, I don't want to do this. There we go. 4/4, 4, 8, 12. So up till here we have 4/3/4. Following me? There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we have. Well, that's 6/3/4 because it's 4/4 and then 2/4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3. So yeah, technically. So 2, 3. I don't care that it's a little off. So that's 3, 4, 6, 7 bars of 3/4, respectively. No, it's 6 bars of 3/4, and this is where the new scene comes in. So we're gonna copy this piano, which is basically this. And also, that's OLAFUR Arnalds felt, and that needs splosh, much splosh. So theme comes in bigger here. Let's see. I have no idea, but I know that I want to finish this and save this. Let's again listen to everything that we have so far. And I'm probably gonna finish this off stream sometime next week or the week after, and then we just gonna take a listen to the finalized version once it's done. Or maybe I post the final video on my YouTube, where I will probably use a few more instruments. I thought I might be faster, but we also took the first half of the video to explore a few of these sounds. So anyway, without further ado, this is what we have so far, and I will keep on working on this and try to finish this off cam. What I can say now is, so far, thanks for tuning in and checking out this library with me. Thanks to Spitfire for sending this over, and I hope to see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.